this is a program previously, or this is money previously approved by the board, and now the ministry is giving us permission to move money out of reserves to do that.
It was approved through the multi-year plan, through program and planning.
Vice Chair Hyde?
I saw it when they first talked about it as a placeholder along with many things going forward. Not that it was for sure, because it was when we brought up the discussion again about technology and what else could we do with that. Liz, what's your recall on this? Because South Lincoln, I would think it would be something you'd, and I'm trying to read, and I'm not getting a good read from your body language. I'm just wondering what your recall is on this.
I haven't been at the finance meetings. I haven't been on the committee in the last couple of years. This item has been on the request list from South Lincoln for probably 6 or 7 years, and they've needed an increased capacity in the technology area. They have many more sections requested than they're able to fill the needs of the students, and so that's why it's been on the books for quite a number of years.
Thank you, Liz. Vice Chair Hyde.
Sorry. And I understand that, and we've seen it, which is why, and again, I don't know, somebody, Jim, and we've asked a few times that, I'm glad monies have been for reserved. Does it mean it has to be at South Lincoln for that, or can we look at finding something different and offering technology to many of our smaller enrolled schools? That's my question, because it does not get answered. And we've brought it up, we gave information, I've talked to Warren, and so I was surprised to see this, because I didn't think that it was a go-ahead or given. Quite honestly, it was that we were looking at, it was identified as an area. But if this means that it's going ahead and South Lincoln is having an addition, then I can't support that part of the capital projects, because I would like us to investigate what else technology can look like for smaller enrolled schools.
Trustee Clark?
Well, if I may, Mr. Chair, this is not part of the Finance Committee report, so this is just a reporting that the ministry has given us permission to transfer this money out of reserves for these specific projects. Now, my understanding from the report was that this is something that the board had approved in the capital budget, but I can't specifically lay my hands on. I think we'd have to look back to the reports to the board from Ed Program and Planning to see if you don't think that was ever approved, we should check it out and make sure that it was approved by the board. But I don't, it's only part of this report as an information item.
Superintendent Roth.
Just for clarification, we have asked for the transfer from reserves from the ministry. There would be nothing stopping, if there was a change made to that, there would be nothing stopping us from not doing that. So this is approval to transfer from reserves. It doesn't mean that we're going to be doing the project immediately. So we could look at that.
Okay, I think the director, do you want to comment for?
My only comment is Doug Durant is the person that would tell us when and where that project is. I know Marcy and Kevin both talked to me about another project that Marcy alluded to. I didn't know that this was brought to planning. It was brought to planning and hasn't been back on the table about planning. So I think Doug Durant is the person that would answer that. I am not aware of when this was passed and that we're moving with this project yet. I think it's part of an application to the ministry, and we'll bring that information back. In fact, if we can contact him tonight, we can ask that question.
Thank you, Warren. Trustee Fulford and Trustee Lynn Campbell.
Yes, I was going to suggest that in terms of that whole item under capital projects, that just be referred back to planning, and we'll deal with that business in the fall, and nothing will be spent on those items in the meantime.
Trustee Lynn Campbell.
Thank you. I was just going to say I agree with Vice Chair Hyde. I like the idea of a mobile tech vehicle because it could service a lot of our smaller schools, and especially since we're having our consultant to do an analysis of the programs and the facilities of our 22 high schools. The outcome of that might be very relevant. Maybe it's a bit premature to put additions or special programs or anything that would cost a lot of capital dollars into schools at this time until we have the results of the research.
Is anyone else? Trustee Ness and Trustee Lemon.
I guess I'd like to ask for staff's guidance on this, because I think the motion, or the suggestion is that that money would be spent, and I know that they're already digging holes in Orchard Park. So I think we'll need to pay some bills for that.
Point of order.
Yes. Trustee Clark.
This is just a report that was brought to the Finance Committee that the government had given us permission to do this. So we can pass this report and deal with any upshots of it. All we're getting here is a report that we received permission from the government to use reserves. The committee received the report, didn't do anything with it, and there's no reason for the board to do anything with this tonight either, other than be aware that the ministry has given us approval.
Vice Chair.
Dalton, I understand what you're saying, but what I'm reading tells me, if you back up, that in one instance, because clustered together are Sir Winston and Orchard Park, and earlier in the report, we're going ahead with McDonald and Zuberg, so we're moving ahead on one item, the accessibility, and those accessibility ones happened a long time ago when they take their turn, but it's been lumped in with the addition at Sir Winston. I understand that. So in one instance, it's moving forward, and something's happening that we're spending additional money, and Parliament is a different one. Like do you know what I mean? That's why I don't quite understand that those are gone for, you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm thinking, okay, we're moving ahead on this one as opposed to, yes, money's been freed up, it's transferred, and it's a place card in there, that's great, we'll see what that looks like, but before that, we've already okayed one of those projects. So I'm confused in how the timing rolls out. That's my concern, that if it's going to happen with some of these other projects, I was hoping, a few of us were going to get some more information on some of them, and Slooped, and that's what I don't quite get.
Trustee Love, did you have a comment?
I can agree in the principle, Dalton, with the idea of having that money from the ministry. But in regard to South Lincoln High School, the tech, we did discuss, in fact, I brought it up when I was sitting over there, and I looked down at Liz at the time, and we talked about the mobile technology. We also talked about the idea of building that room onto South Lincoln High School. And I think somewhere back in our report, you'll see the program was going to be under review. At no time did I ever see an approval for either one of those coming forward. But if you deal with the whole concept, as Dalton was talking about, take the money, and then some projects are underway, some aren't. We can address that later on in the fall at the planning meeting of Wednesday, October the 7th. That's all.
Thank you, Don. And I think, if I can try and clarify this, I think we've applied to move the money from the reserves for some that are ongoing. Other ones are planned to go, but they still haven't been to program and planning. Am I correct in assuming that? They will come in the October meeting? But there are ones, I know Orchard Park, because they're constructing that, and the other ones. So it's kind of half and half. There are some that are